Welcome to Sports Nation. Carrie Champion here with Marcellus Wiley. This is the normal crew, but then we were graced with royalty. Her name is Jamel Hill. Hi, Princess.
Oh,
how you doing?
I like this. This should be the new normal, LG.
See?
I
throw shade at my Michigan brothers.
Lose a couple pounds, I get hugs. I love it.
I'm not gonna let y'all do that. I wore my first Sunday, women's missionary outfit.
You got your Sunday's best on. You look great.
Boy, she got on that tabernacle. I ain't mad at you.
I'm telling you, Church of Wakanda, Our Lady of God.
Church of Wakanda. Let's get it started then. Houston went past Rockets. Houston caught a win.
Trying to beat us, we about to figure this out and find out. So if you look at this matchup on the court, this is the problem for the Houston Rockets. Let me just give it to you. Steph is going to go at CP3. I love me some CP3, but Steph has fun playing against CP3. We have seen the highlights and the lowlights of that. KD on Trevor Ariza. Stop it, Trevor Ariza. You're going to lose that. You've got Klay Thompson, the best two-way player outside of Kawhi Leonard now, going against James Harden. That might be a wash. That may be James Harden more points, but he's going to feel the effects on that defensive end. And then Draymond on Clint Capella. Just looking at those matchups, I just don't see how the Houston Rockets have enough star power at the top to actually compete with them.
Okay, so I know we buzzed. One quick question. You bring up CP3, which brings me to something that I think a lot of people have been talking about. This is his first conference finals ever.
Yeah.
Is he ready? Will he show up or will he sneak up the joint?
Oh, absolutely, man. That's a weak narrative. This is the best team he's been on. I understand.
Why is that a weak narrative?
Just because if you don't have the proper assets around you, you're not going to get to that level.
But you guys don't give everybody else that pass. That was always my issue.
Exactly.
I think part of it has to do with his size and the fact that he's a point guard. But if he's considered a superstar, and a lot of people consider him a top 5 point guard at all time, then how come he doesn't get the Magic Johnson, Tragic Johnson nickname or some of this other stuff? And people have certainly belittled and berated him for not making it to this point. But he generally gets a pass.
But the New Orleans years, did we really think that was a conference finals team? And then the Clippers. I mean, this is...
He got drugged.
He did, but then the Clippers in New Orleans is not necessarily the franchise you say, okay, those are conference finals or NBA finals teams. So I think CP3 has lived up to what his greatness is. Now he's finally surrounded by other greatness, James Harden especially. Now we're going to figure this out.
Jay, before we move on, he think up the joint to show up?
No, I think he will. He will definitely show up. Look, the reason Houston is going to lose this series, we may see some individual performances that don't live up to it, but at the end of the day, I think they just lose because Golden State has more stars.
They just got more.
All right. One more buzzer to let us know I went over the beat of elimination. Game 5 tonight in Boston for the Sixers win or go home. Stats say it's an early vacation for Philly. Celtics are 6-0 in Garden. And guess what, Marcellus, according to our producer, you say the Sixers will not only win tonight.
Yeah.
Here comes a hot take. They're going to take the whole series.
Yeah. All right, it's real. No team has ever come back from a 0-3 deficit. But no team has ever been down 0-3 and start talking trash in that moment either. And that told me something. This team was favored to win every single game up till tonight, right? So this is a team that's been underachieving. And in the moment when you know all things are against you, this is a do-or-die game. Not only do you win that game, you start popping off at the mouth like this ain't it. I'm believing in the Sixers finally playing up to their level, and I think they win this series starting tonight.
That's a bold take. That's a very bold take. It's just the wrong take. So they're going home, like Alvin Gentry said, Cancun, in their near future.
Right.
I mean, the reality is that Boston has outplayed them most of the series. What happened is we all got caught up in the star power. You look at the 2 generational players that the 76ers have, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and say, hey, with that talent, they should win this series. But I thought from a defensive structure and just a unit and coaching, Boston was in the best position to beat them. And some of it, too, is that people are looking at the next round saying, okay, who would I rather see? The 76ers versus Cleveland or Boston? And a lot of people want to see the 76ers. Sorry, homie. They go home. They go home.
The best thing about sports I love is the fact that you get opportunities to self-correct. They evaluate themselves and realize, you know what? With T.J. McConnell, the guy off the bench in the starting lineup, they outscored the Boston Celtics last game by 18 points. This whole series, he's been the spark plug. Now he's in the starting lineup. It
sounds good, but
I'm telling you.
So it's a fact.
Guaranteed. All right, when we come here tomorrow, I want to see what y'all going to wear then. See what y'all going to have on there.
Our same dresses. So let's talk about Bron's plan, folks. LeBron, he's a good player. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Yeah, that guy, LeBron James. So Kyle Lowry talked about the season basically being a waste after they got swept by the Cavs. Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year, obviously voted on by his peers. But last night, things got a little testy on side. You watched it inside?
Yeah, boy.
And it was essentially about DeMar DeRozan being benched by that now Coach of the Year. Let's take a listen.
You don't disrespect your best player. If you don't have a great relationship with your best player, you're never going to win.
That's not true.
He did not.
That's not true.
In your opinion.
True.
No, just because you say something, it's just
That's not true.
It's not true.
Me and Pat Riley never saw eye to eye, and what happened to my man win. So it's not true what you're saying.
Well,
it's not true what you're saying.
It's not true.
I'm just letting you know what you did.
Was the man on that team?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was a role player. You're right, but you know what?
That's my point.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship.
I'm just telling you something.
Stop
Wayne carried you to that championship. No matter how much you scream, you loud, that does not make you right.
Listen, you got to stop babying the players. You got baby, that's why you ain't win.
I didn't have Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant carry me up and down the court.
Got 3 finals MVPs.
Because you
Google me, Chuck.
Everybody
Google me,
Chuck.
You see that?
Everybody know you're a great player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship. You ain't got to repent that.
Entertaining, because we love entertainment. It was awkward and awesome and all of those things, but I want to be able to break up the two arguments. So Shaq is essentially saying that you got to stop babying these star players, such as DeMar DeRozan. He didn't play well, so he deserved to be benched. Shaq is saying, no, hold on, that's not it. Like, Shaq's like, no. But meanwhile, I agree with Chuck. Chuck says you need to have a better relationship. So whose side are you on?
This was the quintessential old men yelling at cloud. Like, what are we talking about here? Look, I actually think they both were a little bit right. Shaq is right that your best players need to be held accountable. That is definitely true. And Charles Barkley, he was also right in the sense that you have to have a good relationship with your best player in order to get the best out of them. And it was interesting to me that Shaq, that he brought up the fact that you got to stop babying his players. He knows as a superstar, he played by superstar rules.
And he was babied.
Thank you. Is he not the same one, you know better than anybody, that said, I got hurt on company time, I heal on company time? That was him, right? Yes. He was the same one that sent Stan Van Gundy home to be a family man, right?
Yeah.
That was him, right? Okay, that's what happens when you're the best player.
Right.
Also, I need for Shaq to come up with a better argument with Chuck
me in the rings. I'm over the rings.
Okay? That's like arguing with Jordan Stans, who every time you want to talk about somebody else maybe being better or in the same company, them saying, oh, but he had 6 and he never lost.
Yeah, you need another argument.
New argument.
And they say that about you often, you know, and I don't think that's fair because you were an excellent athlete.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, if you try to hurt me.
No, I'm serious.
You gotta hurt me in something that I care about. Like, I ain't walking to the NFL talking about, man, how many Super Bowls I'm going to win?
Right.
Y'all can have that one. I'm over here trying to get this money and these memories. All right. Just being real. Okay, here's the thing. I'm with you on everything. I'm going to echo it, though. Star power gives you equity. So guess what the equity is when I am not playing well? You still believe in me because I'm the star. So I'm with Chuck on that one. Then also, you just can't be as simple as just saying rings, because there are so many other great players like the one you're arguing with who doesn't have rings, who doesn't have the proper assets around him, and still have a valid point. So in that one, I say 2-0, go Chuck.
All right, so he also mentioned, as we get ready to move on, the relationship he had with Pat Riley, but he forgets that the star during that time was actually D. Wade. We're going on to Jeers, folks. Bad news, it's time for it.
You did have 3 finals MVPs, though. Google me.
But Google me.
Three finals MVPs. Can't argue that.
I'm not talking bad about him, but
no.
People would say. All right, Jason Kipnis can't handle the ground ball, Jamel. And I know you...
You went to Jamel.
I was in MVP. She was a shortstop.
She's short. I don't know about the shorts.
Google me.
Google you? I will. It's going to come up and say what?
Roller, that's a very tough play to
Are slow rollers hard?
Yeah, they are. When you charge it in, yeah.
2 Jeers for Rockets, Eric Gordon. Jazz Rockets, Gordon throws the ball out of bounds.
What was your batting average? Let me hear this.
Oh, dude, I'm
Google me.
I'm at a 3rd and 4th. Hey, look, you better go around Detroit and ask him.
Why are you so jealous?
Mendoza line. It sounds like the Mendoza line. You ain't no
Pirates, White Sox. Dickerson misses the pop fly. Jamel, how difficult is that?
Yeah, how difficult is that on you?
That actually isn't difficult. He tried to get fancy. He just stood up and like backed up a little bit. He would have had him. See, he was trying to put some trickeration in it, a little sauce on it, and misjudged.
No trickeration. That's your top analysis. All right, folks.
Y'all have to pay me the big bucks.
Coming up next, there's Bryant. Does not have a job. Why is that? We got a special guest joining us. Who is
Arian Foster in the house.
Okay, so welcome back to Sports Nation. We gave you a hint. He is here. Former NFL running back Arian Foster joins us. Thank you so much for joining the cast and crew. We big time today. How did we do this? How we get that?
Man, budget. Yeah, and we got that song cleared. For real.
So since you've retired, you have been very busy. And I think people who know you, or at least thought they knew you when you were a player, knew you had a creative side. So you have a podcast. I know that you have a ton of folks come on there. this one,
myself included,
has been on there.
Yeah.
At one point, a clothing line, and now you are creating music. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's not a clothing line; it's like merch. You know,
merch.
People want to support. I ain't out here doing that, but nah. So I've made music my whole life, and I've like recorded thousands of songs, and I just never had the time to give it the love and the necessity it needed to become the quality that I knew it could be. And so I finally got that time, and I dove into it, and it came out great. It was like a 3-year process, though, and so I put a lot of love, a lot of time into it. And
okay, so we obviously heard it. It's Flamingo and Cobalt. You want to explain the reference behind it? It's streaming live.
Yeah, for sure. So Flamingo and Cobalt is the intersection where Tupac Shakur got shot. And he was a super big influence in my life and pretty much everybody in the hip-hop culture, period, especially on the West Coast. So I just a lot of love for him, and it's kind of like metaphorics to, you know, that's kind of where hip-hop took a hit, and he died and somebody else is starting now. And so it's a cool little reference.
What's the style? Like, if I listen to the album, what am I going to be reminded of?
Yeah, so I understand the stigma, man. I get it. Like, when athletes make music, it's usually garbage. Like, I get it. You know,
outside of Shaq and Lonzo.
Nah, like
Shaq and Lonzo.
I think it's only one.
I feel like Shaq could sell, like, Tic Tacs and they'll go. You know what I'm saying? But, like, as far as, like, lyricism and, like, quality production, I don't think there's been an athlete that's made really good music. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'll tell you, I was like, and I hope you take this really respectfully. You remind me just in style of J. Cole.
Yeah,
like he really does. Like especially mixtape J. Cole. Like great storyteller. Same thing. Like you just remind me.
Jamel, that's a
little more energy than J. Cole.
Yeah, that's huge. What you're saying.
A little more fun.
Yeah, he gets that a lot. I don't understand. I don't understand that.
You don't listen?
Man. I don't understand that.
You don't listen.
We know Cole slam.
Where the club bangers at? Come on, J. Cole.
So
Give me something.
Aaron, now that you were here, we're going to ask you some football topics.
Yeah.
Sports in general. How about that?
I come from that mode.
All right, let's do that. Let's do that. All right. So first up, we're talking about free agent running back Mike James. He's tried and failed. Mike James to persuade the NFL to allow him to use marijuana as a painkiller. The NFL has since denied his request. Shocking about that. So let's listen to his take, which is, I know right now I'm doing something that makes some people uncomfortable and that I'm going against the establishment to push for a change in the way they look at the medicine. I know there's a greater purpose here for a lot of guys in this league who I consider family members. So the NFL said no to medicinal marijuana. Your reaction, Arian?
I don't think the NFL has ever really they've never coincided with logic and reason. I think they do a lot of things emotionally and reactively. And so they'll okay opioids, they'll okay things that actually are detrimental to players' health, but something that has little research on as far as negative effects as marijuana, they won't allow that just because of the stigma around it. I mean, also, there's just some federal laws that have to be changed, but the tide is changing and the NFL will come along when the public thinks it's okay.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. I mean, it's illegal on the federal level. And the NFL, that big business is not going to be first to that party to do something that's illegal on the federal level. Yeah. I agree with you in the logic category, but when you're talking about certain states it's legal, certain states it's not, and until there's a complete uniformity in legislation, NFL can't go to that first.
Well, I think they can, but they won't, because I mean, if you look at they don't have to test for marijuana. You don't have to.
True.
Yeah,
right. Hockey, baseball, yeah.
And I mean, I feel like there's a reason for that. But
I get you.
And I mean, to be honest, like, and I might be snitching, but I don't. Like, there might be like 80% of the cats, and it's an arbitrary number, but like 80% of the cats that I play with or just new in the NFL smoke weed.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
It's a part of our culture, and it's like I said.
But it's also pain management for a lot of the guys. I use that all the time.
I use it. I have 14 surgeries, and I can't take. I was out there under the table, man. But I couldn't take like what are the pain meds they call it?
Like Vicodin.
I couldn't take that because it makes me nauseated and it makes me throw up. So I needed a supplement, and it works.
I only had 7 surgeries. I used to drink. So about 14, you had to get up there.
Right.
Jamel, you're
I was going to say, the NFL, like, they're always going to be the last to the party league. Part of it is that instead of just marketing itself as just an entertainment brand, they market themselves as a value brand. So they're always pushing faith family football. That's the NFL. So when you get into that as your brand, what happens is when something more progressive comes along, then you don't know how to handle it. Notice this is an entirely different conversation in the NBA.
Although I feel the tide is changing because it's legal in so many states now, they're going to have to join eventually.
The
last to do it. All right, well, let's talk about this. He hasn't gotten a job yet. Bryant. What is going on with that young man? The NFL draft has come and gone, and he still hasn't had a gig. So, Arian,
I'll be lying if I sat here and say I watched all the film last year and I break it down. So as far as the decisions from that point of the front office, I can't speak on. But I do know that they do base a lot of decisions on how he'll be received publicly. And you know, receivers are usually divas, man. So a lot of guys don't want that. I ain't saying he is. I'm saying in general, like that's how the public views it, and they don't like headaches, whatever that means in the public eye, so they try to stray away from that.
Right.
That's my guy though. Like he need a job.
Yeah, it's a risk reward thing, right? It's like when your talent sort of drops down, and then they can perceive you to be some kind of risk. Then they say we don't need you, because a lot of people are looking at him like, oh, he doesn't get the separation he used to. But there's a lot of older wide receivers that still got jobs. So this feels like something based strictly on his personality.
Strictly a perception personality issue. I'll answer this in story. There was a defensive end at one time who used to DJ from day one and DJ the owners' parties and got sacks and nobody had a problem. But as soon as that production started to decline, you know what? We're going to cut you. And why? Because you're DJ. Because you're doing stuff off the field. Stupid stuff like that. Des Bryant and his boisterous personality is fine until you 800 yards every year.
I didn't know that was about you.
Yeah. See, it wasn't even about me that time.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. Stick around. Aaron, you going to hang out?
Yeah, I can hang out.
All right. Back in